Hello there, everyone. And as the picture suggests, I'm already spoiling you all with the guest. And this person may not be a well-known, person around the community, right? But they're still a player. And I did say I was gonna go with the smaller guys instead of the mostly big guys. Maybe we'll introduce some of the big guys too. But for the real top players, you might want to check out the snacks on at twitch.tv/lsnacks. And sorry for that long introduction. Please, our guest, make your greetings.
Hey guys, what up? My name's Nomad. A player. I'm a Steve Sora main from the West.
Yeehaw!
Sorry, I play Steve.
Yeah, don't worry, don't worry. Here, this is a safe haven. The only attacking we do here is towards snacks, but that's because I have to physically abuse snacks whenever I want, whenever I will. So snacks, you better get ready for this whooping. But for now, Nomad, tell us, what's the purpose of your name?
My name comes from Rainbow Six Siege because there's a character in Rainbow Six Siege called Nomad, actually,
Mhm.
without the O with the cross. And I've always liked not only her character design, but I also thought her ability was really good. And I always thought she was underrated, and I liked how it sounded, so I chose that as my inspiration for my Smash tag.
Okay, and what type of ability was that?
Well, for those that play Rainbow Six, since it's a shooter and it's like a very tactical one, what she used to do was she placed like air landmines that knocked you away. And I used to think that was really good just because in a game where sound and like being quiet is very important, something that like displaces you and does a lot of noise at the same time is just like a really good ability, but people barely used her, so.
All right, so you would say she's an underrated character in that game.
Yeah, I certainly believed by the time she was a bit more underrated. I don't know about now, but
All right, all right. And one other thing, right? You said that in Smash 4 you were a former Pac-Man main, right? And
yeah.
do and I myself know this answer already, but is there a more in-depth analysis to why you don't like Pac-Man in this game? Like something related to
Uh,
the game engine or the overall changes to set character?
It's more of a game engine thing, and also this weird stipulation I've made to myself where each time I play a following game from a series, I try not to repeat the same things I did. Let's say in Monster Hunter, I try not to use the same weapon. In Smash Brothers, I try not to use the same character each game. But
Hmm.
it was mostly a thing about, the game engine felt weird for me, even though Pac-Man is objectively better than he used to be. He just didn't fit what I used to do in the other games, especially because of things like the change in air dodge, just like faster pace and everything.
All right. All right, and that's very interesting. Now then, this came up in my head while you were telling me that. How do you prefer Sora now over most characters in the game at the moment, right?
Yeah.
But that's not the question. The question is if Sora or in Smash 4, which is the other game you have a competitive experience in, were in it, right? Let's say he was a character in it. How would you feel using him in that game?
How would Sora fit into Smash 4? I think
Yes.
it's interesting because the air dodge mechanic there might actually help his survivability. I think he'd actually have an easier time landing than he does in Ultimate.
Mhm.
But and it also would help him in his standard kit because he loves frame trapping. So if he's going to be constantly punishing people for air dodging, which was a very common thing to do in Smash Ultimate, then in Smash 4, my bad. I think he'd actually be arguably, I think, better than he is in this game, which is saying a lot. But I don't know. I'd have to see. Maybe modding will in the future go far enough to where I could actually see what how he would do in Smash 4.
Well, lucky for you, some people are bringing over Smash Ultimate characters to Brawl, so maybe you can get an idea there.
That's true. That's true. I could try that out sometime.
Yeah, it's called Project M EX Remix or something like that. I don't know. Either way, there's a Kazuya skin for Marth, not in terms of color, but I mean the actual model swap since someone did an April Fools for that.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. See, because that's also an interesting topic. How would Ed's character that was not in this game engine work in this one? Because we all know Roy sucks in Smash 4 because the
Yep.
game engine does not benefit him. Made over here in Ultimate, it does. And it's a common thing seen in the community that everyone can universally agree that Sephiroth could have been top 5 or top 3 in Smash 4, if he were in Smash 4.
Yeah, totally. It's super cool to be theory crafting and thinking about the what ifs, and hopefully someday we can actually get to see those what ifs. Because it's like the biggest one, which we always get, is like, oh, what would this character be like in Melee? And like the fact that we can actually do that nowadays is impressive.
Mhm. That is very, very true. And now, Nomad, you say you were like little bit of a Smash 4 player once, and now you're just playing Ultimate. But however, there's a huge gap between that. Which game do you feel you had a better experience with in general?
I had a much better experience in Ultimate because while I do think I did better in Smash 4 in terms of just like not even practicing and getting good results, that's mainly because of just it was literally just because matchup inexperience. Because no one knew how to play against Pac-Man. There was just like one or two other Pac-Man in Puerto Rico by that time. But I think in Ultimate, I've just had a greater time because I've met amazing people like yourself, and I've just actually had gotten the time to learn the game instead of just like skating by and then feeling bad that I'm not doing better. I actually understand why I'm doing poorly or why I'm doing better,
Yeah.
and I think that's made me enjoy the game. Obviously, you know, meeting everyone has been like extremely helpful in terms of me wanting to get better at the game.
All right. And do you think, and like, here's something I want to know, right? What do you think would have happened to your love for Smash, right? Had you stick with Smash 4 all the way to the end, to the beginning of Ultimate?
It would have been interesting. It would have been an interesting thing to. It's an interesting thing to think because I quit the game out of I just lack of passion by the end of Smash 4. So maybe I could have been one of the many people that just quit the game. Just started playing Ultimate for a while and then just quit and never came back to it, which almost happened even then. But I think like the break I took actually really helped me. So yeah, probably would have just like quit completely and just skate on by and see what's happening in the community and just not even care that much, I guess.
Would you say that you're still skating by just a little bit now, or do you feel you've gotten a bit more passion?
Well, I got much more passion than I used to have. I might not be extremely prevalent. I'm not someone who likes to be on the forefront. I like being with my friends and like I do like making friends nonetheless. But I'm not someone who's gonna be on Twitter replying to everybody. I'm a bit more reserved in terms of meeting new people. I just once I get to know people, I try to be a bit more open with them.
All right, all right. And all right, and since you're a person who's taken a major break of Smash, um, well, not from Ultimate, but like from game to game, aka you entered Ultimate late, and by late I mean later into the period. You didn't exactly enter early. What I want to
Yeah.
know is from your experience in this quote unquote break, do you think the community could do better as a whole in terms of getting better venues, or do you think the venues are perfectly serviceable right now?
Well, I think the venues as of right now, for what the size of the tight-knit area of the community is worth, I think the venues are awesome. A
Yeah.
great example that most venues could actually follow, obviously, are both CVG and Golden City, because those venues, to me, I have a lot of fun with them. Each time I go over there, I have a blast.
All
So
right.
I think the exemplary one, obviously, is CBG. Those guys have like crazy production value, but Golden City's like right behind them. Like it's like barely behind them because they've also got a amazing stream setup. The place itself
Hello?
Phone disconnected. The place itself is amazing. The people there are awesome. It's overall great. What I do think venues could use, especially over here in the West, where I'm more present, I guess, it's the streams. It's 100% not having streams. It's very obnoxious when I don't have a way to practice my VODs because I'm usually not gonna be put in in a stream.
Hmm.
I'd have a much higher chance of being put in a stream over here, and I have no way of doing that because currently there aren't any tournaments over here that actually have stream. Obviously, that I hope that is going to be changed in the future, but as of right now, it's probably the thing that I just wish everyone had, you know.
All right. Thank you, thank you. I wanted to ask you that question because for most people that take a break, it's a short break, but then there are some people who, like you, take a longer break and with their own collections of years past and years now, I want to really see how they think the environment could change. And I'm not saying an environment like the safer space for players, but I mean like an environment and change of scene as a whole, like in terms of evolution, like you said, with the
Yeah,
whole.
in terms of evolution, how could we evolve this scene? Obviously, I'm as much as a veteran, I want to call myself, you know, oh yeah, sure, I'm a veteran. I've played Smash 4 and Smash Ultimate. I'm a bit, you know, inexperienced in terms of like actually being an amazing player and whatnot. But as a viewer and as a constant competitive player, I think the way to evolve the scene obviously is something a lot of us have recently began to notice, and a lot of us have recently decided to actually work upon, which is actually leaving the scene and coming back. Obviously, what I mean is going to tournaments in United States, in Europe, in Dominican Republic, and Cuba, you know, not playing with the same players over and over again over here. Because obviously, up to an extent, you can get really good over here because we do have good players. I'm not saying we don't, but a lot of us play against the same people every tournament. So we're gonna get used to certain matchups, certain habits, and we're not going to be able to learn things that we could otherwise learn in the bigger major tournaments like tournament stamina, you know, certain matchups that we just don't see over here in Puerto Rico. I mean, this is something I say all the time, but you know, there's no Mega Man in Puerto Rico, for example. There's only one Wolf
Actually,
that we know of, obviously.
there is one Mega Man. Their name is Luis Xiang, but they may be a bit distant from the game for the moment, so your claim could still stand up to being half true.
Yeah, I don't mean there isn't any. It's ludicrous to say there's no player playing the characters as of right now. What I meant to say mostly was exactly a constantly active player, because you know, um, if we don't have these matchup experiences, once we go over there, we're going to be, you know, we're gonna find this to be extremely daunting to us. If it's especially if it's a player that's better or same skill levels as us, if we play very common characters, which isn't a problem, that's something else I want to talk about afterwards. But if we get used to playing, let's say over here in the West, um, Mario's,
Yes.
then we're not going to be able to know how to play against Jigglypuffs over there. Let's it's just an example. Obviously, I'm not saying it's going to be a problem, but it's something that um could affect us as a region. So yeah, I think going out of the region, if you have the money, because it's obviously not realistic to ask everyone, hey, you know, leave Puerto Rico. The flights are expensive. Gas comes out like is going up. Like it's obviously more about if you have the income and you're willing to go, you should go. There's like you shouldn't stop yourself from going because you're going to get better. And this is something that we're going to have to start doing. And a way we can do like send people over there obviously would be, you know, donating money to people to so they can go there, which obviously isn't ideal for some people, but if we want to grow as a community, just like donating and giving money out to like fly some of our players out so they can represent us is a great step in that direction.
All right. Nice. Nice. I
And
kind
the
of
and
agree.
then yeah, and then about the other thing that I was talking about was like the characters we play over here are so diverse, that it's something actually I saw some of our top players talking on Twitter, which is a lot of people don't play, you know, the really common top tier characters that are over here. Like we do have our Robs over here, we do, but they obviously most of them. I'm gonna say all of them, but a lot of them don't consistently go to tournaments. They go to like the majors or they go to like big stack tournaments, and that's completely fine, obviously. But we know the more we have people playing top tier characters, the farther we can go in terms of combating those characters outside. This kind of goes hand in hand with what I was saying. It's obviously a bit controversial. I, for one, don't. I mean, Jesus, I play Sora. I don't necessarily play a top tier character either, so I shouldn't be the one saying this. But obviously, just like if we had more top character players,
Yeah.
then we could get a lot of matchup experience on these things and see like little tricks ins and out. Because no matter obviously the skill level, you can like any player can make up new things for each character on the fly, and just like learning these ins and outs of characters by fighting against them and as them would also help the region a lot as well.
All right. All right. And I would like a follow-up to that question. What characters do you think are the most common around here? And I don't mean meta characters. That means if one player here is doing extremely good, but if it's only them using that character, then that doesn't count. And
Okay.
let's get some of the obvious ones out of the way. The Jokers and the Marios, and as of recently, the Byleths.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Those are very common characters. I mean, Joker has a problem to where top tier obviously isn't that common because he's very hard character to master, but he is pretty common in the mid tiers. And a character that I think obviously is extremely common. I mean, we had 8 Robs in our last top 8, I think it was, or the one before, which was Rob. Rob is a very common character, and we do have a couple of Robs here, so I don't think he's obviously the best example. But a character that we barely have anyone playing over here is Roy. Roy is extremely common character, and we have like 3 or 4 Roys. I know a couple of them. I played against a couple of them, but it's wild to me that we don't have more because he's a very very popular character to play in Smash Brothers, especially in competitive level. Another character that is extremely prevalent. I'm not saying he's top tier. Everyone agrees he's not amazing. It's King Dedede. That's a very very common character. A lot of people like playing King Dedede, and
I see him more online, but
that's
I
true, but a lot of people seem to play him at least on like the low mid tier players. He's very common there.
I would
It,
say that King Dedede is probably one of he's like a fog threat. You don't see it,
yeah, exactly.
but you could run into it. And he's a character, right? That online he's gonna be really good. So most experience of most people is just gonna be online. So their
Hmm.
timings to punish Gordo and other stuff like that will have to be drastically different. Example, I ran into one the other day on Elite Smash, and I did not know what else to do because I was like, damn, I don't see much DDDs.
Exactly, it's like then you're fighting against him and you're just like, what do I do? Or we don't see this character over here. Uh, Thankfully, I'm kidding, I'm kidding, but we don't see that character that often here. It's a very prevalent character. It's an important character to know how to play against because a lot of people can cheese you with him if you don't know what to do against him. And I consider him to be present because even if we don't see him in majors that much, he's important. And obviously the character that's rising up in stocks right now, Steve. We do have Steve players here. We have approximately 2 to 3 Steve players over here, but
Didn't
it's a character
Golfo
that's
leave?
I'm not sure. So maybe we have two, I guess. But if Golf is still around, then we have three. And the character is going to become more prevalent. I have no doubt in my mind. The
Hmm.
character is going to be very very prevalent as time goes on. And I think just like it's strange that people at least don't pick him up, not even as a Coleman or to just like to practice him, because he's going to be prevalent and he's going to be I'd say a problem, but he's going to be like a staple in the meta, in my opinion. Obviously, as time goes on, people are going to learn how to play against him, but he's going to be much more prevalent. And I think this would probably be my closing one, but it's going to be weird because I know a lot of people have him as a secondary,
Hmm.
but Cloud, because we do have our clouds, we do have our fair share of clouds. A lot of people use him as a secondary or co-main, but there's no like solo cloud player. Even though those that have him as a co-main are very, very good as him. As same with the people who do play him exclusively, because I actually do think we do have one or two solo cloud mains, I believe.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
one of them.
right.
It happens to be Tushi,
Tushi, yeah, I
and
know Tushi.
the other one, I don't have much recollection of them. So if anyone in the comments can tell us, yo, this is the other cloud player, we would greatly appreciate that. But in the meantime, we can just refer him as cloud main number two.
Yeah, so like Tushi, obviously an amazing player. Like wow. And then Cloud Main number two. So we have our two Cloud Mains there, but it's strange to not see him more, at least as a secondary. And I do know a couple of players have them as a secondary, but it's crazy not to see him more prevalent because, thanks to Spargo, that character is getting like his stocks are going up as well. And it's just because he's a very good character.
All right, nice, nice, nice take on that. But I want to ask a follow-up to that. Do you think Pyra and Mithra will be common over here because they at some point they became common in the meta, but then people just started dipping her. And do you think they could also be a common character here, or do you think only a select few will end up with staying with the character?
I think she might become a bit of a stepping stone character in terms of I'm gonna pick her first, I'm going to learn the game, and then I'm going to move on to a character I enjoy a bit more. And it's strange to say that because they're pretty fun. They're pretty fun characters, and they're the idea of playing them is simple enough because but Mithra has really good frame data and you use Pyre to kill and you have crazy moves like side B or her aerials that just kill you just by breathing on you. But I think they they suffer from like a strange thing where people just use her, get the results they wanted, or learn the game the way they wanted to learn it, and then just move on to a character they're actually passionate about, which seems to be the case. For example, for on a top level, Spargo, our only real top player Mithra, Pyro
Yeah,
Mithra player
yeah.
is
Okay.
Cosmos.
Yeah, exactly. Cosmos.
Cosmos is the only one, Spargo doesn't play them that much anymore. Leo rarely uses them, and he just doesn't seem as comfortable with her as he seems with Byleth and Corrin. So it's like the character just keeps losing its players, and it's not because they're a bad character. I just think people aren't passionate about the characters. So I think over here it's gonna be a bit of the same, to where a lot of new players, because I at least in my experience in Winter Clash, I saw a couple of new players. I played against one of them, and they were using Pyramithra, and they'll probably if they love Xenoblade or they love the character, they'll keep
Yeah.
using it. But if they just like the character because they're strong, they're going to move into another character eventually, and that seems to be a running trend. I'm not basing this off of you know just my
So
experience
you're
against the
saying
character.
people don't want to play characters, right? Even though they're good, because they won't have much of an emotional connection to the game itself the
Yeah,
character has.
yeah, that's 100% what I'm saying. It's the same reason personally I use Sora. I play the character because I have a lot of emotional attachment to them. And a
Hmm.
lot of the characters, that's going to be the case. I'm not saying it's going to be for every character, but a lot of people are going to start picking up characters as main just because they're like very in tune with the character. They just very much enjoy the series or the character itself or how it plays. And then they're gonna have those secondaries that help them cover matchups. And Pyramithra might actually see an increase in gameplay usage as a secondary, perhaps, but I don't see that many people playing her, and I don't see that happening in the future. I
Mhm.
actually think she might start seeing less and less gameplay because as time goes on, people are also understanding how to edge guard her and just how to play against her overall. It's something I've personally also experienced. I feel like I know how to play against her more than I used to when I started playing the game. And it's just because that's developing. It's going to be something along the lines of Pokemon Trainer where people say his meta is resolved. I don't agree on that, but obviously like people are going to know how to play more against the character as time goes on and the character is going to be seen less because of this.
All right, all right. And and since you say that about the Kingdom Hearts and the whole Sora thing, I would like to add to that Ike got me into playing his Fire Emblem games, and it got me to loving Fire Emblem, as anyone can obviously see. And would you recommend to people who haven't played the game of their main the play the game of their main?
Totally, totally. I've done that with Joker. He wasn't my main, but I played him a bit when he came out, and I became very interested with the series, and now I love the Persona series. P4, P3, P5. Those games are great. I've started playing P4 recently again, and I've seen P3 story. I've talked to friends about it. I've made friends. I've kept friends thanks to the series, and I like that's something that's great about Ultimate, and it's something that I have to agree with what you're saying. If you like your main, play their game and see if it helps you find out something new you're passionate about.
All right, nice, nice. And that's a good thing because I told Jujitsu and Gugui, the two other admins here, y'all gotta play Path of Radiance. It is the best Fire Emblem game. And many Fire Emblem fans can agree with that, as they had a poll and that game came out on top.
I know I've heard amazing things about the game, and like I'm on the same boat as you. You've told me to play it as well. I've got a couple of friends who've told me to play it, and it's on my list. It's on my games list on things I'm playing next. I've already downloaded Dolphin, so I'm ready to play both Path of Radiance and Radiant Dawn.
Here's a little tip: when you get to a desert chat, something called Chapter 14 in Path of Radiance, hit me up because I can tell you a secret specific tile where you get something so cool it will blow your mind.
I'll let you know, 100%.
And what and now that we're talking about different game franchises, which one do you think kind of feels the most at home in Smash? Not that it fits Smash, but it definitely feels like you're playing that game. And when I say franchise, right? I don't want you to say anything from Fighter Pass 1 or 2 because those guys are very recent characters and by any means they do feel like their home games as we've seen with Kazuya, Steve, and Min Min. But and Sora. And to give you an example of what I mean, look at all the Mario characters. You're looking at them, right?
Yeah.
Now notice how most of them, sorry, Dr. Mario, all have really long combos.
Okay.
And now in Mario, what happens when you touch an enemy?
You become smaller.
Hey, you become smaller. And what if the enemy touches you again?
You die.
Exactly. Because the Mario characters, they can get you into a pretty decent combo, and then they can kill you with that same combo again, or they can just use something else. Because in Mario, sure, a Goomba may make you small, but another Goomba's not gonna kill you. It could be a Koopa Troopa, a Paratroopa, or a Piranha Plant, or a Firebar, or you just fell off the stage and didn't make the jump.
Okay, so in terms of that, and we're just talking about base roster characters.
Yeah, base roster
I
characters, no Fighter Pass 1, no Fighter Pass 2, and to a certain extent, some of the fighters from please excuse me, the DLC from Smash 4.
okay. I'd argue character. One of the characters that first comes to mind, obviously, is Sonic. I think if it weren't for the fact that he has two spin dashes, if he actually had light dash, I'd say Sonic without a shadow of a doubt. But since he does, I could see Mega Man actually playing a lot like he does in his games. You know, you're just switching abilities. You're using your pellets a lot. And obviously, he has the Shoryu, which is from Mega Man X. But nevertheless, you know, he has a lot of things that are very reminiscent of his games. Obviously, you know, it's how they wanted to make him.
Mhm.
But he plays a lot like he does in his games. And if it ain't Sonic or Mega Man, I'm totally going to say Little Mac because it's not the whole grounded thing. It's just like you're waiting your turn to get your hits in. But once you do get your hits in, it's like extremely devastating.
All right, and well, and before you keep going on about if you have another character to speak about, everybody says how all the Fire Emblem characters just play all similarly, and some of them might find it boring, right? Well, I'm going to explain to you. All right, notice how they all have something that kills you early or a setup that kills you early.
I mean, yeah, yeah, you know, we have Roy with side Bs and obviously just his explosiveness.
Yeah,
I mean, sure, he's DLC, but Byleth, Ike with his up B and his F smashes. So yeah, I could totally see what you're saying.
and wait, there's more. Notice how some, uh, and by I mean some, I mean mostly just excluding Roy from this, they all can struggle to kill Raw sometimes,
Yeah.
and they'll just have to wait a little later to kill you. This is because in Fire Emblem, you have in the harder the map gets, the quicker you have to get it because you could either get pincered in, lose the objective, or lose a good item.
So what you're saying is they basically on purpose made the characters to feel as if you either go for the kill at once or wait it out and get the kill later, but it'll be harder because you
Basically,
put yourself into this poor position like you
mhm,
would in FE.
yes, definitely. Because in Fire Emblem, it's a genuinely simple game. The stats and numbers look scary, but I promise you, it's very simple. And in Smash, you're kind of doing the same thing, trying to find the right positions, the right attacks, and you want to get that early kill, or you will struggle to kill Raw. Because heck, even Roy may struggle to kill Raw because of good DI, because Roy sometimes can't just kill you from forward air. Sometimes you might survive his tilt if he's been using it a bit too much. The most thing that could kill you is side B, and that has to be in the super inner part of his base hit. So, and this is a thing with Morph and Melee too. Because you can hear Melee players say, oh, if Morph doesn't get the F smash kill early, then he's gonna struggle to kill. Just like in Fire Emblem, you don't find your way to the objective quickly or something like that. You could get inconvenienced into doing your end goal of the map.
Well, that's crazy. I actually never had thought of the characters as like that before. I've you've always thought of them and personally, right? As just that, oh, they just you just play them. They're sword fighters. I never actually thought of how carefully crafted they were in
Yes.
terms of what you're telling me.
And then, however, there are some characters that even though they're base, it might not feel like that sometimes. Zelda, the Zelda characters, Zelda's probably the more Zelda looking one because reminder, she's using magic. Link in some games can use magic, and that's very representative because if you can get the magic thing on your enemies, example, her main aerials have lots of a knockback when done properly. Aside from Nair, but that's a combo one. You can get an early kill. That's how in Legend of Zelda, where if you use magic, it could one shot an enemy.
I could see it. Yeah, I don't like how they made a couple of them. Example, the best example obviously is Ganondorf, who plays nothing like you'd think he would.
That Ganondorf was a
But
poor fate of in Melee
yeah.
wanting to have more characters. And did you know they gave Ganondorf something from Captain Falcon, which Falcon has in Melee, but he's not programmed to actually do it.
Oh, I actually didn't know that.
You know his semi spike on the last hit of up air?
Yeah.
Captain Falcon has that in Melee, but there isn't a flag for him to activate it. And this was carried on from Brawl to Smash 4 and to Ultimate.
I actually did not know that. That's crazy. How just like a simple flag can completely change a move.
Yes, exactly. And and this is very interesting because see, even though some characters may feel like, oh, they don't play like their games, think about it. They try to make it like their games. I've heard some Tekken people say Kazuya does not play like he like how like he does in Tekken, like Smash Kazuya doesn't play like Tekken Kazuya. But however, even though might not feel like you're playing Kazuya sometimes for the Tekken people, he does feel like a proper Tekken character with all the inputs you need to know because a day one Kazuya won't do the same as a day 10 Kazuya.
Exactly.
The
Yeah.
reason I say day 10 instead of someone who's actually been practicing the character is because during by day 10, some people might have been actually learning at least one input so they can casually do on their friends. Like, oh, I'm gonna hit you with this electric wing off fist. Ha ha, no, you can't. You don't practice this character. And you just practice it, to hit your friend Billy or Jimmy, with the electric wing off fist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's like in Tekken, where the more you practice, the better you're gonna get. And then
Okay. Yeah.
another character that even though his moveset is a Smash original, I would say Captain Falcon because in F-Zero you gotta go fast, and if you hit a and you're risking always getting hit with those bumps, and so does Captain Falcon because he wants to play an aggressive 1B neutral instead of just regular neutral because he wants to get the really good looking stuff because in a racetrack you want to get first. Yeah, you need to do whatever it takes. There are some really good NASCAR videos about the art of revenge. You see them, you can see why. Why are people excited when they see people driving? Because they're doing whatever it takes to get first place. And that's the same thing you're doing, Captain Falcon. You're going fast. The only thing you can think about is, wow, I'm in danger. Many cars around me. There's a road, and that's my last follow-up question. What other characters do you feel no one has actually seen, right? That actually do play like their games, but no one else has seen it.
Another character that play like their game that no one has seen it.
Example, I already told you this about the Fire Moon characters, and you said, "Oh, I didn't know." And I realized this the moment someone said in a Melee Marth guide, Marth struggles to kill Raw.
Let's
So
see from the ones that are missing.
do not say
Hmm.
the Belmonts. It is obvious they want to keep away from their enemies. They got their whips, their long distance whips. And the Inklings, of course, we can see it all. You got to use your gadgets to get, ahead of the enemy. Squirt them with ink, you'll do more damage.
Hmm. Well, I'd argue to a certain extent, one of the ones I could think about is actually Snake. But the problem is, in Metal Gear Solid, you're trying to be a bit more quiet. So him blowing himself up is kind of counterintuitive to what you're doing in Metal Gear Solid. But a lot of what you're doing with him, which is like you're not necessarily going always. You're not always gonna go in. Trying to set up. You're trying to set up the game. So then afterwards, when you're in a good position, you go in. Obviously, it's something very standard for stealth games where you try to position yourself and hide and keep away from the enemies long enough to where, okay, this is my chance to strike. I'm going to go in. I'm going to do what I need to do. And then I'll get out. And if you're seen, you have to blow it all up and try your hardest to, fix what you've already done wrong.
Hmm.
But yeah, the whole blowing yourself up thing with Snake just obviously takes any of that credibility away from what I just said.
Well, I guess you could say that. And anything else you might want to add to that whole thing of the character shebang, or do you have another, or and not? I shouldn't say another hot take because we all know Ganondorf does not feel like Ganondorf sometimes. However, due to the power in his attacks, he really does feel like you have the Triforce of Power. But in a design aspect, he just doesn't feel like Ganondorf. Do you have a character in mind that you think does not play like their game?
Hmm. Who could I say doesn't necessarily play like their game?
If you can't find a base roster character, you could, you know, say a fighter pass character from either one or two, no problem.
I really couldn't say anything about the Fighter Pass. I think Fighter Pass actually nailed characters pretty well in terms of how they play.
Yes.
I'd say a character that, strangely enough, I don't think necessarily plays a lot like their game is this is a really weird one, right? But it's for some reason to me it's Yoshi. I feel
Yoshi.
he's like, yeah,
Really?
I feel he's very in your face and he's very aggressive. And usually when you're playing the Yoshi games, especially, like, they're not in your face games. They're very casual, very calm and collected games where you're just shooting eggs and jumping around. And well, yeah, you do a lot of that in Ultimate, a lot of keep up with eggs and whatnot. You're like Yoshis are usually extremely aggressive players. Like you're going in and you're going to do all you can to go for the kill, which is funny because he comes from just generally lighthearted and calm and collected games. You're not in the rough, you're not in the fight. You're just running around and you shoot some eggs and you eat some shy guys and you just have a good time.
So what you're saying is that you think Yoshi should be a character that should have been designed to be played at a slower pace, correct?
Yeah, if we're going to be go and like keep the heart and soul of his games, of his like solo games, obviously, then yeah, I think he should be just a slow character. Not have him be slow, but a bit more slower paced. But I enjoy him in Ultimate and in all the Smash games, so I wouldn't want them to change him. But if they had to, if like this was an end all be all, like we have to change a character, I'd say try to make him slower, cause like try to make him fit his game's themes. Just make him fun, make him be normal, make him not have to go all in, all out, go deep, and like go for the kill, just make him be a slow paced, cool, calm, collected character. Especially in Ultimate, he's like completely the opposite. You really want to be in your opponent's face, especially because of his things like his really fast nair and his
Hmm.
just like really good tilts that combo into other aerials and stuff.
Yeah. That's very interesting. And ooh, it appears we've been interviewing you for 43 minutes. That's a new record, Nomad. Consider yourself a very interesting guest. I was worried about the runtime. I guess I could fit one more thing into your character shenanigans. Take Joker for example.
What's up with Joker? What what do you feel about Joker?
The Mega 10 games are all about hitting criticals and weaknesses. The closest thing we have to this is with the gun's criticals, aka the closer you are, it'll inflict knockback or some flinching. The further you are, it will not. And then weaknesses, this could be done like some characters just not being able to deal with projectiles properly. And you have IHA. Because in Mega 10 you want to hit the weaknesses, you want to hit the criticals, you want to buff and debuff. Whereas Jokers, they went the complete different route and made him feel like a Persona 5 character. Like you're playing Persona 5, you're being flashy, you're trying to get all the stuff cool, you gotta be cool because Joker's cool.
Yeah.
He does not necessarily feel like a Mega 10 character, but he definitely feels like a Persona character.
Yeah, I also see it when I play him. The thing I have to agree, and I actually had never thought about it, is yeah, criticals and weaknesses. You're really not taking that into account when you're playing Joker. And another thing that's like really strange, and something that's very important in Megaten and games, is just like Joker's a wild card in this game. He has the ability to use different personas, and of course, I know Arsene is your starter. It's what you get when you start the game off. So he's going to be the one that's used. But it's weird that they didn't allow Joker to actually be able to change at least between two or three different personas, because it's something very important in his games. It's something only he can do in the Phantom Thieves. Of course, every protagonist in the Persona games does it, but in terms of P5, he's the only one who can do it.
Now, what if I told you that Project Plus or Project M have found a way how to change movesets on the fly using the taunt button? Some of
Then
Samus's
yeah,
moves become ice missile based when pressing the taunt button. Now, if a Mega 10 character, right, were to get into Smash Bros, but to actually play like you're playing a Shin Megami Tensei game, I would suggest they would have to switch up some of their move sets on the fly depending on the character. For example, you have a character that struggles with projectiles. You could get some more zoner-based movement options or specials in that time. However, that would also create for a really complex character or a super broken top tier or just make the Mii's obsolete.
I see, but I just think it's something actually, the Smash Ultimate community, the Smash community overall has always wanted, and we've always asked for that in the form of a Fire Emblem character. But a Megaton character would serve that purpose just as well, and it's a stance change character. I think Megaton character would actually lend itself to be a really good stance change character.
And here's the thing, it would also work as a stance change category because in the older games and in the newer games, the protagonist is always changing their resistances. Like example, let's say Joker, right? His starter persona is Arsene. We're gonna use Joker as an example because he's more familiar with everyone. He has two weaknesses, ice and light. The moment he changes a persona, he'll get different resistances. And he could nullify light now and not have a weakness to ice, but he could have a weakness to wind. So, for example, a stance change character could work like this. You have this stance on, but you're going to take more damage from smash attacks. So, if someone gets a good read on you, you could die a lot quicker. Or your moves become a lot slower and a lot more unsafe on shield, but they got some weird properties you can use against the opponent.
I yeah, it's just I feel it's one of those prime characters, series that allow you to make a stance change character. Because I don't think you could make a good stance change character, for example, for Mario series. Those are
Definitely
very
not for
basic
Mario.
games. Yeah, they're
Pe-
very basic games.
People would
So
say Waluigi, but here's the thing. Waluigi would fit better in having all of his shenanigans, wacky shenanigans, all in one to represent the Mario sports styles example. He could just have his racket as some jab attacks, or he could have his foot stomping you as a down tilt or side tilt, or heck, a down smash. So you can just have a berry effect right there neutral, and
I
that
just
would be the gist of it.
Yeah, that's exactly what I want from the character. If Waluigi ever did make it into Smash Brothers, I'd want it to be a love letter to all the side games, Mario Party, the sports games, things like that, because that's what he is, that's what he represents, and I think everyone loves those side games. Everyone loves Mario Strikers. Everyone loves Mario Party. Everyone loves Mario Sluggers. Mario Tennis. So just having someone show these off, Heck, he could even show off a Mario Kart, and then we'd get a Mario Kart character if he has a cart. And
You could have
that's
his
one of the
card as a
best.
side B.
Yeah, it's one of the best selling series for Nintendo. So I think if he were to be at it, he'd work like that. But I don't think a Sans character would be good for the Mario series. I think that would be much better fitting for Fire Emblem or something like Persona or Shin Megami Tensei or whatnot. But certainly not something like Mario.
All right, all right. I definitely see your point. And now here's something else I would like to ask. Were a Smash player come to approach you talking about one of these games, which one would you have the more knowledge on? A Mario Sports like game, or a Mario Kart type game, or a Mario Party type game?
I am extremely terrible at all those games, but I personally have spent more time playing the sports game. I think the one that I just played ridiculously when I was younger was Mario Super Slugger for the Wii.
Hmm.
I love that game. I love that game with a passion. It was so fun, but I obviously played it just for funs with my friends in my house. So if someone came to me and asked me if I wanted to play one of them, I'd probably say just Mario Kart because it allows for more people. But if my personal preference would be Mario Super Sluggers. That game is flames.
All right. And now, Nomad, I want to make this my last question, right? Have you enjoyed your experience so far?
Of course, I always enjoy my experience, man. It's
And
great. It's been
and
great.
something I've been doing with the guests is asking them, who do you think should be the next candidate to be here?
Who's a hmm? I think a great candidate would be Kratos. I think he'd be great to have here, honestly.
All right, all right. That definitely could put another one of them Team Shine members, because Team Shine's gonna make a debut at Frame by Frame. Everybody, I hope you're seeing it. June 4th. You'll see us on the crew battle. We may not win, but we have the passion, as if we
Well,
were
yeah,
winning.
I'll be there, and I hope you are going to be too, Elman.
Yeah, we're gonna do our best to kick some ass. But
Hell
no,
yeah.
but everyone, we're all gonna have fun. We're all gonna have fun. We're not gonna wish for an attack on anyone else. However, if we do land something saucy in bracket, I'm gonna be like, damn, I did land something saucy in bracket.
Gonna be in the highlight reel.
Hmm. And now a third question, right? Are you mad?
I'm listening. Uh, no,
See,
I'm Nomad.
folks, he's not mad, just like the picture says.
I'm Nomad. I can't be mad.
Well, I got something to make you mad. You know what it is?
I'm scared.
You better be scared, because you don't know what it is.
Do I know? Do I know what it is?
It's something very obvious.
I'm scared.
You're scared?
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I'm gonna cut off the recording before you can say bye. Bye.